Asia Wilson is not playing in Unrivaled, much like Caitlin Clark's not. But there's been a story surfaced by way of Sports Business Journal that is baffling.
And they're giving good explanations to why, at least for the most part, because they believe that Asia Wilson should have been paid more money than Caitlin.
After Caitlin Clark was turned down, AJ Wilson recently dropped a shocking revelation. According to reports, the reigning MVP thought she ought to be paid more than Clark. Why?
Caitlin Clark owns that. Caitlin Clark is the face of that. And without Caitlin Clark, a lot of people wouldn't even know who the hell Asia Wilson is.
However, in contrast to Caitlin Clark's rejection explained Clark's quiet MIC drop, Wilson's announcement featured pyrotechnics, confetti, and allegedly a bigger pay offer.
She definitely don't deserve more money than Caitlin Clark. I just gotta keep it real. Now, people could be mad all they want, but over here, I'ma keep it real. Caitlin Clark is the tide that rides all boats. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And Caitlin moves the damn thing.
Let's be practical for a moment. Although Wilson has talent, this goes beyond that. It also has to do with legacy and perception. Clark is able to add the athletic foundations, even though Wilson might have the skills. Furthermore, statistics are honest. As if she were giving away free Beyoncé tickets, Clark draws sizable crowds, whereas Wilson has a devoted but hardly innovative following.
Unrivaled is down bad for Caitlin Clark. And obviously everyone is a bit on bated breath if Caitlin Clark will be one of the people, but no one on bated breath more, it sounds like, than Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, and every investor and person involved.
Wilson's team claims that she declined for the same reasons as Clark, remain focused, etc., are not taken seriously by the basketball community. Despite being clearly directed at Clark, the timing appears to be a standard "look at me" moment intended to highlight Wilson. But as it happens, Wilson's playbook does not include this. Not to mention the irony that Clark deftly sidestepped the chaos. Wilson's pick seems to be intended to be dramatic, and this is not her first headline. Remember how AJA Wilson's reaction went viral after her Nike shoe launch delayed the launches of other players, or when her "winning isn't for everyone" ad campaign swiftly faded after her team lost in the playoffs. Wilson has a gift for making everything about her, even when it isn't.
Asia Wilson is not playing in Unrivaled, much like Caitlin Clark's not. But there's been a story surfaced by way of Sports Business Journal that is baffling, and it is getting absolutely crushed right now because nobody believes.
Clark wasn't rejected because of fanfare. Rather, she let her behavior do the talking. She emphasized the need of off-season relaxation above the never-ending work when she declared, "I need a break." Although AO Wilson couldn't help but steal the show with her own bombshell of rejection, it seems that class isn't contagious. Let's talk about Wilson soon as the media took notice of Clark's choice. Wilson's camp easily released the information that Unrivaled had offered her an even greater deal. And you know what? She said no. The timing of this disclosure was obviously perfectly normal, and followers soon realized that one social media user had nailed it. Clark says no and goes on. Wilson declines and calls for universal praise for his plight.
Well, no amount of pulling in Kate Martin, Lexi Hull, or agreeing to State Farm sponsorships got the Unrivaled League Caitlin Clark. She's not gonna play.
Merely reminded everyone of her unrivaled priorities and the reasons behind her status as the basketball queen. In an attempt to lure her in with $1 million offer equity, a frenetic new trio of Henry League WNBA stars Speak Out nearly set up a red carpet and neon signs in her inner circle. Clark, looking as composed as ever, declined, stating that she valued her time, her health, and her sanity. Come on over. They are currently attempting to preserve what little respect they still have by addressing 3 factors that were unmatched and clearly disregarded in their proposal. It didn't work out. They had banked on the Caitlin effect, believing that her fame would turn their little league into a big event. They brought in brand partners, Clark's pals, and maybe even the toy that her dog loves the most. The roster announcement felt like a deflated basketball, but she continued to say no.
I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. And then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team and kind of move on and put all that behind me and help this team, get back to the playoffs. So I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflecting.
Desperation was very evident. Please, Caitlin, we need you, but here's the crunch, their marketing called out, as they attempted to shift the conversation by announcing Wilson's rejection. A league that starts with its two biggest stars refusing to play will not attract any interest. Why should anyone want to watch if Clark and Wilson won't play? The fans can see the irony. Wilson, however, seemed to be drawn to the drama. Her rejection was more than a choice. It was an impressive sight. And the future already appears dismal based on a few headlines that are unparalleled. Despite the commotion, Clark made a straightforward and sensible choice. Even when a glamorous offer is presented to her, she isn't scared to decline since she understands how valuable she is. Even though it was heartbreaking to lose Clark, the chaos surrounding Wilson's revelation only made things worse. The league now has to strive to prove that it can survive without its two most famous players. Fan reactions explode. Unfortunately, it probably won't.
I didn't think somebody from A'ja Wilson's team cold-heartedly thought that she should have got more money than Caitlin Clark. I thought people was lying. But, as we can see here, it was very much the truth. The article goes on to say A'ja Wilson, Caitlin Clark turned down participating in Unrivaled League.
It seems that plans to reinvent women's basketball are stalling. They had to scramble to find talents who can truly garner attention after their big presentation of a 6-team roster seemed disappointing because two wild card positions were blatantly left available for Clark and Wilson, who both rejected the league. In basketball, they also discuss placing all your eggs in one basket and then dropping it. You're not getting paid more than Clark because you're not moving the needle like she does, said a Reddit member frankly. MVPs are irrelevant to facts. The entire topic has been discussed openly by the community, with many fans considering Wilson's camp's comments superfluous and others endorsing her decision to put the rest first.
Clark, it appears, and Wilson have turned down the historic offers to participate this season. While ESPN reported this afternoon that Clark had decided to pass on the Unrivaled League since starting January 17th, with sources recently telling SBJ that Clark's offer was about $1 million plus liquidity in the...
To prove her worth, Clark doesn't have to make things up. In the end, her calm assurance sets her apart. Wilson, though, seems to like it. She understands how to keep herself in the spotlight, even if it means giving away too much, whether it's through shoe releases or light-hearted feuds with NBA players.
A'ja Wilson, A'ja Wilson's team is claiming that she wanted more money than Caitlin.
The real losers here are unrivaled in the absence of their two greatest potentials. Why should fans participate in the battle at bombshells if Clark and Wilson aren't interested? Stars are left to market a fantasy that no one appears to want to buy. Wilson was rejected with a hint of unrest in what this means for the league. There is one thing that is certain, even though Clark's was all class. Women's basketball teams may decide to focus on resolving the off-season drama rather than depending on absent players, since it might just be more captivating than the games itself. To show you the list of women that were announced earlier this evening, she and Caitlin Clark both earned spots on the WNBA All-Star roster for their efforts thus far this season. A'ja Wilson reminded everyone why she has won 2 WNBA MVP awards and might be vying for a third after putting on yet another outstanding performance. She just delivered another masterclass in domination techniques. Wilson casually attributed her recent achievement to enduring through adversity and having faith in the process when asked about it. Wilson demonstrated that she is not willing to accept mediocrity by guiding her team to 5 consecutive victories, as like it were just another day at the workplace defensive improvements. Yes, but let's be honest, the league needs to get serious and allow the A'ja Wilson show take over. Despite trying to limit her score, Kelsey Plum also scored a season-high 34 points. Wilson modestly characterized her own performances as just getting the job done, but it's difficult to overlook her season-opening record-breaking 20-point scoring spree. Wilson, a teammate who is always encouraging, showered her with praise, describing Plum as a gym rat who is as dedicated as they come first and last out, which is simply AP's warm-up routine. According to her, the secret to excellence, the Hall of Fame, prestige, and a legacy is constancy. In case anyone has forgotten what she is trying to achieve.
Because of the effort she's had so far this season, she earned her way onto the WNBA All-Star roster, as did Caitlin Clark. Let's show you the list of ladies who were announced earlier this evening.
When discussing his last thoughts on the WNBA's revitalized enthusiasm this season, Wilson didn't mince words. When people recognized that these players were indeed exceptional basketball players, the gossipy drama came to an end, she cheekily pointed out. Not to mention her amusing proposal that Beyoncé go to a game residency. What's a small change in Queen Bey's schedule when Wilson is carrying the league, after all?
Gigi Wilson and Caitlin Clark. We got the final tallies tonight. We had it with them earlier tonight. Michael's going to break that down and tell you who's headed to Phoenix on July 20th here in just a second, ladies. Talk about Caitlin Clark, another near triple-double, but again, she really, for the second straight game, struggled from the field tonight. What did you see?
Well, in our countdown show, the great Carolyn Peck highlighted this, and she was being guarded by Jackie Young, who is another individual who takes meticulous care of her body and is meticulous about the scouting report. One of the toughest on-ball defenders in the league, and so I think...
Caitlin Clark's fights against the Aces were acknowledged in the interim. It turns out that Clark saw stars instead of sinking buckets thanks to Jackie Young's defense, which yelled, "Welcome to the big leagues, rookie." The A's defense is operating again. By overcoming Clark, Wilson and her team reminded everyone why they are the reigning champions. Consequently, opponents might wish to start re-evaluating their strategy. Wilson's leadership ultimately keeps pushing the envelope, and even if it seems like everyone else is fighting for second place for the rest of the season, she is guiding her team, and perhaps the league, to greatness.